Hey guys, it's me, Kelly. I have a special treat for you today. Okay, the twin flames, the soulmates. Now, let me give you a little bit of my vocabulary. I might be saying this wrong, but using my vocabulary words, how does this all work? Like the spirit, when I see someone's spirit, consciousness, or broken off piece of God, whatever you want to call it, like I'm looking around the room, that's where I'm looking from. This place of awareness that I see inside of people, it's quite stick usually. When I see people that are not quite human, they don't have that. It looks different. So, and sometimes it's bent a little bit crooked, sometimes it's straight. But I see it constantly refreshing itself from out here, and then it kind of comes in, and then comes out of the chest area, and it kind of feels like love. But that's like you coming out. So I call that the spirit. And then the soul is what I call this cocoon-like thing that I see around people that holds like your personality and the codes to be human and your emotions and all of that. That's the soul, like a suit you're wearing. It's not you, but you use it to have an experience, like the goggles for the video game. You can't have the video game experience without the goggles. So yeah, like with that vocabulary, how does this soulmate work?
Their aura, when I look at their soul, and that's why I call myself a soul essence channeler, is because the aura is the soul. All of that is the soul. What you're seeing there is the soul. So basically that's how I work, is I tap into that. But what I've noticed is that you are experiencing that, and if those levels of you aren't really integrated, then what happens is you'll attract a soulmate that aligns and helps based upon an etheric contract that you have before you even come into this existence. You're having a contract with another being in another existence at the same time. So for instance, the Kelly, that's human, is guiding probably a Pleiadian right now on Pleiades and is her dominant spirit guide. So, and then the dominant spirit guide that's coming through you is a portion of you that's trying to help you to integrate you. And then the dominant spirit guide that's coming through you is a portion of you that's trying to help you to integrate you. So there's many yous. There's many levels of the soul. And some are integrated and some aren't. We're just multifaceted. That's why people say, what's your origin point? Oh, I'm from Pleiades, I'm from Arcturus, I'm from here, I'm human, I'm this, I'm that. It's all happening simultaneously.
I saw us going over the bridge, but we didn't. We made it, and we had some angels, basically, I think, that got in the way and intervened and made sure that if that first car had hit us, we probably would have gone off the bridge. But because suddenly this car got in between us, they got the full brunt of what happened, and we didn't. So yeah, something changed at that moment, and I got another aspect of myself, I guess, inside myself.
Yeah, and that is what I talk about with integration, and that I call a soul braid. So what happens with that is
a soul break?
Soul braid, like
braid. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and why I call it that is because there are multidimensional aspects of you that if you aren't integrating those aspects, and if that aspect says, you know what, I'm kind of done with being here, you get what Dolores Cannon would call an exit point, right? So you had an experience, but the other aspects of you were like, well, wait a minute, I'm okay with being here still. And you decided in that split second, because time is not really relative in any other dimensional existence, and the matrix is, doesn't exist really, it's fake, just created for our play and our integration and our particular novelty and wave expansion. So basically you're like, well, wait a minute here. The other vast parts of me aren't ready. So what can I do? So you in that moment, your higher self, there was an unintegrated part of your higher self that jumped in and said, wait a minute, I want to integrate. I actually have time left here. So that part of you came in, and just basically braided with the other part of you and kept it here. It's like, looks like this. See my finger, it's like a lock, and it just kept you here, and then everything changed. So you were seeing time as happening in the past, in the present, possibly in the near future. Like you were seeing everything happening at once, because when you integrate your soul, your spirit just wakes up and you're like, there's no death. So you're just integrating at different levels. And when you integrate at that level, which the heart center does it, the emotions, it comes through the emotions. If you're a sentient being, if you're a reptilian, that's a completely different story. You're not, don't worry.
No, but my husband had a reptilian in him for quite a while. And
yeah, but he has sentient aspects as well. At least that's how I read him. So because he has sentient aspects, what that means is, remember we were talking about the multidimensional soul, which is like there could be a reptilian over here, there could be a human, there could be a Lyran being, a Lyran feline being. In his
case, multiple ones right now.
Yeah,
I used to see one, but he's got a lot now that are, some of them are bigger than him, and there's a bunch of them.
Yeah, so what happens is if the reptilian side of him was a little bit more dominant when he met you, it likely catalyzed him. You catalyzed him into those sentient beings being more dominant, which means he integrated what he was meant to integrate, and he no longer needed such a dominant reptilian aspect.
Okay. Now there is a reptilian in there still, but it's not taking over.
No. That's not aligning towards self-love either.
That is true. I call them angry vegans.
Right?
They would attack me.
Yeah, and they're like, you're horrible. You can't be a teacher because you eat meat. I'm like, I'm sorry, but like 90% of the fish population is non-sentient and don't really care if they die, and they have an alignment towards nourishing us in that way. And that's how I perceive it, because I've talked to the fishes in the ocean because I channel. So I just need to tell you guys that are still eating fish, there are many groups of fish. They don't have sentient souls. They are non-sentient beings. You know, you have your exceptions.
Okay, more vocabulary. Okay. What does this mean exactly? They don't have a soul. There's not a spirit. What do you mean?
They have an alignment towards being a body, you know, but it's not something that's sentient where they're feeling trauma when they feel pain. They have a nervous system. Okay, I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this video, but I don't care because I'm authentic.
Oh, we gotta get the truth out. You know?
We gotta get the truth out.
Number of subsequent studies have been conducted, finding more and more evidence of fish's pain perception.
That when you jerk, it's a reflex that you have, but there's no emotions attached to it, much like when you take nitrous. You're kind of like, whatever, do whatever. Like, you don't really, you may jerk if something happens because your body responds to pain, but your emotions really aren't negative. Okay. So I don't align with saying that fish have feelings, because in my perception, they told me that they do not.
Okay, and when you say feelings, are you talking about emotions of happiness, anger, sadness? What do you mean?
They have nothing. They're not happy, they're not sad, they're not angry, they're not traumatized when you kill them. It's not like killing a turkey where they get all upset. They just don't. They kind of just float around for a short amount of time. They know they're going to die. They know that they're going to end up in the food chain. They came here for the food chain.
Live show, you get what you get. Delta Fit, this is free. You know, if you paid money, you can complain. This is free. So this energy, when I saw it, it looked like you took something oval, something kind of long and oval, and you took it and you twisted it, and it had like a twist to it. It was mostly like a purple pink with multiple colored little, not bubbles, but little bubbly like things in it. And I saw it coming in, like, here's us, and who knows who's moving and who's not, but I'll just keep us still and move it. So it is coming in kind of like at this angle. So we're entering it, and we're staying in it quite a while, because we're going at maybe a 45-degree angle, instead of, like, you know, staying in a long time this way or a short time that way. So we're not getting the full. Did that make any sense?